the resistance craft hurtled through the void, Earth a fragile blue marble against the infinite. Black Mara sat in silence, her hands still trembling from the lunar escape. The plasma pistol's grip cold against her thigh. The view screen flickered with static, Eclipse's last words looping in her mind. They'll come for you. Beside her, Vega adjusted the craft's trajectory, her jaw tight. We've got maybe 12 hours before their satellites pick up our heat signature, she said. If we're lucky. The cabin jolted, a proximity alert blaring. Titan manning the sensors cursed under his breath. Incoming. 3 bogies, fast movers, ascendancy signatures. Mara leaned forward, peering at the screen as 3 sleek triangular craft materialized, their hulls glinting like obsidian under the sun's glare. Reptilian drones, but larger, armed with what looked like energy cannons. They didn't waste time, Shade muttered, priming the turret controls. Vega bent hard, evading a salvo of glowing projectiles that streaked past, detonating in silent bursts of light. Hold on, she barked, pushing the craft into a spiraling descent towards Earth's atmosphere. The hull groaned under the strain, but the drones pursued relentless. Mara's mind raced. Destroying the lunar reactor had been a blow, but the Ascendancy's reach clearly extended beyond the moon. How deep did their network go? The comms crackled, and Eclipse's distorted voice cut through. Mara, you're not safe yet. The Ascendancy's launched a counterstrike. Orbital assets targeting resistance cells. Head to coordinates 35. A lever relayed the coordinates to Vega, who nodded grimly. Northern Arizona, middle of nowhere. Better than being target practice up here. The craft shuddered as a drone's energy blast grazed the wings, sparking a cascade of alarms. Shade returned fire, shredding one of the pursuers in a hail of plasma, but the others adjusted. Their movements eerily coordinated. They're learning. Titan growled, scanning the sensors. Adaptive AI, probably linked to a central hub. Mara's eyes narrowed, then we find the hub. Cut the head off the snake. They broke through the atmosphere, flames licking the craft's hull as they plummeted toward the desert. The drones followed undeterred until Vega pulled a desperate maneuver, skimming low over a canyon. One drone misjudged the terrain, smashing into a cliffside in a fireball, but the last kept pace, its cannon charging for a final shot. Brace, Vega shouted just as Shade landed a lucky hit, blasting the drone apart mid-air. The craft skidded to a halt on a dusty plateau cloaked by the canyon's shadow. Silence settled, broken only by the hiss of cooling metal. Mara stepped out, the dossier still tucked into her suit, its edges singed but intact. The coordinates led to an abandoned gas station, its faded sign creaking in the wind. A figure emerged from the ruins, hooded, familiar Eclipse. You made it. The voice said, less distorted now, unmistakably human. The hood fell back, revealing a woman with sharp features and a piercing eye. Mara had glimpsed before Riley. Eclipse is just a mask. The Ascendancy's already mobilizing their Earthside forces. They've got a hub in DC, controlling their drones and sleeper agents. We hit it, but we're all dead by sunrise. Mara glanced at the team. Vega, Titan, Shade, all battered but resolute. The moon hung low, a silent witness to their defiance, and we hit it. She said, her voice steel, let's finish what we started. The desert night swallowed the resistance craft as it hummed low over the barren landscape, cloaked in Riley's hacked stealth tech. Mara stood beside the newly unmasked Eclipse. Riley, studying a flickering holomup projected from a wrist device. The coordinates pointed to a nondescript office building in Washington, D.C., a facade for the Ascendancy's hub. It's buried beneath the city, Riley said, her voice sharp with urgency. A command center linked to their orbital network and sleeper agents. If we don't shut it down, they'll activate every asset they've got. Politicians, military, civilians, checkmate. Vega piloted with grim focus, weaving through radar gaps as they approached the capital. How'd they hide something this big? She asked, eyes on the horizon where DC's lights glimmered. Riley's lips thinned. They've had centuries. Tunnels from the Civil War expanded with tech we can't even dream of. The helium-3 powers it all. Energy, control, everything. Mara's hand brushed the dossier. This page is a lifeline of evidence, then we blow it sky high, she said. The craft touched down in a derelict industrial zone on the city's edge, its engines fading to silence. Titan and Shane hauled out gear, plasma rifles, EMP grenades, a portable hacking rig. Riley had prepped entries through an old sewer line. Riley said, leading them to a rusted grate, then descended, the air growing thick with that familiar reptilian musk, a stench bearer now associated with dread. The tunnel opened into a vast subterranean chamber, its walls pulsing with bioluminescent veins, alien tech fused with Earth's underbelly. At the center stood a towering spire, crackling with energy, its base ringed by consoles manned by human figures in trance-like states. Sleeper's Shade whispered, raising his rifle, but Mara's gaze locked on the spire's peak, where a reptilian figure in ornate robes presided, its scales glinting like molten gold. The overseer, Riley hissed, runs the whole operation. The team split, Vader and Titan flanking left, Shade and Riley right, while Mara took point. They moved like shadows, but the overseer's head snapped toward them, its eyes flaring amber. Intruders it rasped, its force reverberating through the chamber. The sleepers jolted upright, their movements jerking mechanical as they drew concealed weapons. They've been waiting, Mara muttered, diving behind a console as gunfire erupted. Titan roared, unloading plasma rounds into the sleepers, while Shade locked an EMP grenade, frying a cluster of drones that spawned from the ceiling. Vega sprinted for the spire's base, dodging energy blasts from the overseer's outstretched claws. Mara followed, her pistol blazing, but the overseer's psychic presence clawed at her mind again. Visions of failure, of Earth new. She gritted her teeth, pushing through, and reached Vader at the spire's control panel. Riley shouted over the chaos, override codes in the dossier, page 7. Mara fumbled the pages open, scanning under fire, and punched in the sequence, H3X3 X3X. The spire's energy faltered, its hum stuttering. The overseer shrieked, leaping down with inhuman speed, landing between Mara and Vega. You cannot stop ascension, snarled, slashing at Vega, who rolled clear, blood streaking her arm. Mara fired point blank, the plasma bolt searing the overseer's shoulder, but it barely flinched. Riley darted and jammed her hacking rig into the panel, almost there. Keep it busy, Titan and Shade converged, their combined fire driving the overseer back its ropes. Smoldering, the spire's lights pulsed wildly, then died, a deafening silence falling as the sleepers collapsed, free from control. The overseer staggered, its form destabilizing, scales melting into a writhing mass. This is not the end, it hissed before vanishing in a burst of light. The teleportation-driven chamber trembled, alarm flaring as the hub began to self-destruct. Out now, Vega yelled, clutching her arm. They raced back through the tunnel, debris raining and burst into the night as the ground buckled, swallowing the facility in a plume of dust. Panting, Mara looked to Riley. Did we get it? Riley nodded, grim but triumphant. The hub's down, sleepers offline, but the overseer's alive. And a report to the Ascendancy's core. They're not done. Mara holstered her pistol. The city skyline stark against the dawn. Neither are we, she said. The dawn sky over DC was streaked with smoke, the city waking to a tremor it couldn't explain. Mara crouched with the team in the shadow of an abandoned warehouse, Vega's arm hastily bandaged, Riley's hacking rig still smoking from the hub's overload. The overseer's escape gnawed at Mara, its parting words, "This is not the end," echoed like a promise. "Where'd it go?" she asked, her voice low, urgent. Riley tapped her wrist device, pulling up a faint signal trace. Teleport signature scrambled, but its earthbound strongest pings in the Arctic Circle near Svalbard. That's no coincidence. The Ascendancy's got a seed vault up there, officially for crops, unofficially. She trailed off, her piercing eye meeting Mara's. A core facility, Mara guessed. Riley nodded. Their last stronghold. If the Overseer's headed there, it's to activate something big. Vega flexed her injured arm, wincing but resolute. Then we hit it before they regroup. What's the play? Titan cracked his knuckles, Shane checked his rifle, both ready. Riley hesitated, then spoke. The Svalbard site's a fortress, sub-zero tents, automated defenses, and whatever the Overseer's got left. We'll need more than guns. The dossier mentions a directive, a fail-safe protocol. If we can crack it, we might turn their own system against them. The team piled back into the craft, its hull scarred but functional. Vega charted the course north, the engines roaring as they cut through the stratosphere. Mara poured over the dossier, its final pages cryptic. Directive Alpha, containment, override key, symbiotic resonance, symbiotic, she muttered. What the hell does that mean? Riley leaned over, frowning. Could be biological. The Ascendancy's tech mimics life. Those restraints you escaped the Spire's veins. Maybe it's a frequency, a signal they sync with. Hours later, the craft descended through a blizzard. The Arctic's white expanse broken only by the stark silhouette of the Svalbard facility. A domed structure half buried in ice, its surface pulsing with that same bioluminescent glow. Sensors screamed as they neared. Automated turrets emerged from the snow, tracking them. The stealth sound. Vega snapped, banking hard as energy blasts lit the sky. Shane manned the turrets, returning fire, while Titan braced the hull against the impacts. They crash-landed a kilometer out, the craft skidding into a snowbank. On foot from here, Mara ordered, leading the charge through the storm. The facility's entrance loomed, a massive claw-like gate that parted with a hiss, as if expecting them. Inside, the air was warm, humid, the walls alive with writhing tendrils of alien tech. At the center stood the Overseer, its golden scales restored, flanked by a dozen reptilian guards and a pulsing organic core, a grotesque fusion of machine and flesh. You're persistent, the Overseer sneered, its voice a venomous chorus. But you're too late. The core directive is active. Your species' final submission begins now. The core flared, emitting a low, resonant hum that clawed at Mara's skull, a pressure building in her chest. The team vaulted, she dropping to one knee, Vega clutching her head. It's the grid, Riley gasped, fighting the effects, upgraded stronger. Mara staggered forward, the dossier's words flashing, symbiotic resonance. Riley, the rig, can it counter the frequency? Riley nodded weakly, fumbling with her device. If I can sync it to their signal, disrupt the resonance. She worked fast, cables sparking, as Mara faced the Overseer. You need us alive to ascend, she taunted, drawing its focus. What happens when we stop playing along? The Overseer lunged, claws slashing, but Mara dodged, firing plasma into its guards. Tightened, and Shade rallied, their shots thinning the ranks. Riley slammed her rig into the core's base, and a piercing tone cut through the hull, shattering the psychic grip. The Overseer shrieked, its form flickering, as the core's tendrils recoiled. Now, Riley yelled. Mara grabbed an EMP grenade from Shane, hurling it into the core. The explosion rocked the facility, ice cracking overhead as the core imploded, dragging the Overseer into its collapsing mass. No ascension for you, Mara spat as the team bolted for the exit. The dome buckled, burying the Ascendancy's last bastion under tons of snow and steel. Outside, the blizzard howled, but the hub was gone. Vega slumped against the ripped craft, Riley's grid dead in her hands. Is it over? Titan asked, voice hoarse. Mara stared at the buried ruin, the dossier's final page fluttering loose in the wind. For now, she said, but they've been here centuries. We've won a battle, not the war. The Arctic wind howled, whipping snow across the buried ruins of the Svalbard facility. Mara stood at the edge of the crater, her breath fogging in the frigid air. The dossier's last page clutched in her gloved hand. The Overseer was gone, the core destroyed, yet a hollow unease gnawed at her. The Ascendancy's reach had stretched across centuries. Could one collapse truly end it? Beside her, Riley shivered, her rig a charred husk, while Vega, Titan, and Shade salvaged what they could from the wrecked craft. We need to move, Vega said, her voice rough, her bandaged arms stiff. Storm's worsening, and we're sitting ducks out here. Titan hauled a crate of scavenged tech. Ascendancy fragments Riley insisted on analyzing. If there's more of them, this might tell us where, he grunted. Shade scanned the horizon, rifle ready. Or who? Mara nodded, tucking the dossier into her suit. Back to base. We regroup, reassess. This isn't over until we're sure. The The team trudged through the blizzard to a secondary extraction point, where a resistance dropship waited, its engines humming defiance against the storm. As they lifted off, the crater receded below, a scar on the ice swallowed by white. Riley patched into the ship's comms, her voice steady despite exhaustion. Global chatter's quiet, no sleeper activations, no drone swarms. The grid's down, at least for now. Mara met her gaze. And the ascendancy? Riley hesitated. Silent. Too silent. The flight south was tense, the team nursing wounds and doubts. Mara replayed the Overseer's final moments, its flickering form. The core's collapse, had it teleported again, or was it truly gone? The dossier's cryptic symbiotic resonance haunted her. Had they disrupted it, or merely delayed it? She glanced at Riley, who was already dissecting the scavenged tech, her piercing eye narrowed in focus. "Find anything?" Mara asked. Riley held up a shard of glowing alloy. "This isn't just tech, it's alive, hybridized. If they've got more, they could rebuild." The dropship touched down at a resistance outpost in rural Montana, a fortified bunker hidden beneath rolling hills. Inside, the team debriefed with a handful of operatives, gone determined survivors of the Ascendancy's shadow war. Vega slumped into a chair, Titan and Shade restocking ammo, while Riley uploaded her findings to a central console. Mara addressed the room, her voice firm despite the ache in her bones. "We've hit them hard, Lunar Base, DC Hub, starboard core, but they're old adaptive. We stay vigilant or we lose everything we've fought for." A faint tremor shook the bunker, dust sifting from the ceiling. Alarms blared and Riley's console lit up with a signal encrypted. "Alien, it's them," she whispered, decoding it in real time. The screen flickered, revealing a distorted feed. A cavernous chamber, its walls lined with dormant reptilian forms in stasis pods. Overseen by a single figure, taller, more regal than the Overseer. It scales a deep, iridescent black. "Your defiance is noted," it intoned, its voice a low, seismic rumble. "But the Ascendancy endures. We sleep, we wait, we rise anew. Your world is ours in time." The fiend cut out, silence gripped the bunker. Vega swore softly, Titan gripped his rifle. Shade's eyes darkened, Mara stepped forward, her resolve a burning core. "They think time's on their side," she said, turning to Riley. "Can we track that signal?" Riley's fingers